I'm Curtis Wray. I'm a family solicitor and a member of Resolution. Myself and my colleague Gemma are going to be discussing cohabitation agreements, addressing some of the commonly asked questions that our clients put to us.
A cohabitation agreement is a document that you would enter into with your partner, which would set out your rights and responsibilities with regards to your financial matters. It would deal with what would happen during your relationship and if the relationship was to end. You can enter into an agreement at any time, either before you start to cohabit or during the relationship. It isn't a court order, so it does have some limitations, but it's usually persuasive in court if the parties couldn't reach an agreement, and the court would look at that agreement to see what it was the parties were anticipating would happen in the event that their relationship would break down.
There's no limitation on who can enter into these types of agreements. As long as both parties are willing to enter into an agreement, they can both have an agreement drafted and enter into it.
There's a common misconception that if you cohabit with somebody, particularly if you've been cohabiting for a long period of time, that you will acquire some financial rights or claims over their property or assets in the event that the relationship breaks down. This is often referred to as the common law myth, and it is that, just a myth. In the event that the relationship breaks down, then it's likely that you'll be left in a very vulnerable position. There'll be no right to claim maintenance against the other person, and you won't be entitled to a claim of that person's pension.
If you separate from your partner, it is possible that you can seek financial assistance from them with respect to children. The assistance that you can seek will depend upon your relationship to the child or children in question. If your former partner is their biological parent, it is possible that you could pursue a claim under the Child Maintenance Service for child maintenance, or even a claim under Schedule 1 of the Children Act of 1989. Under this legislation, you could potentially seek a court order providing you for lump sum payments, for maintenance, or for property adjustment orders. These claims, however, would be for the benefit of the child and not for you personally. If, however, your partner isn't the biological parent of the child, it would be very difficult for you to pursue any sort of legal application or orders against them.
If you live in a property that's owned by your partner and the relationship breaks down, then you may be unlikely to make a financial claim against that property. There are certain circumstances when it may be possible, but this is a particularly complex area of law and you would need to obtain some advice at that time, as it would be dependent on your circumstances. In order to ensure that your rights in relation to a property are legally enforceable, then you should enter into a declaration of trust. A declaration of trust is a document that sets out the shares the parties own in the property and would be conclusive evidence of that unless there had been fraud, duress or mistake. In order to make a cohabitation agreement, you would need to see a solicitor. Your partner would need their own solicitor so they could ensure they'd received independent legal advice before signing a document. A cohabitation agreement should be reviewed every few years to ensure that it still meets your needs. It should also be reviewed if there's any life-changing events such as the birth of a child.
If you and your partner have entered into a cohabitation agreement and then you ultimately become married or enter into a civil partnership agreement, you should consider entering into a nuptial agreement as well to review the terms that have already been agreed and update them. If ultimately you entered into a marriage or a civil partnership and then you were to separate, the agreement that you've entered into could be used as evidence of your intentions at the time as to what would happen with your finances. But the agreement itself would be treated as one factor among a host of other factors that the court would consider. If you have any questions or queries regarding cohabitation agreements, please don't hesitate to contact myself, my colleague Gemma, or another member of our family team. We'd be more than happy to help.